What's going on, everyone? Welcome in here to the Bettor Sports Betting Show on Fantasy Alarm and Bettor Sports Network. YouTube's on a Wednesday afternoon. Got Howard Bender with me on this hump day. What's going on, Howard?
Not much, Servo. Not much. I'm coming off of a beautiful Monday Night Football. I went 5-1 with my picks on Monday Night Football, and the only pick that I missed was Tariq Woolen and his tackle props because somehow, some way, the dude got benched. Don't know what happened to him, whatever like that. But I had a good beat on the game, even with all the hurt stuff. I know I'm very sorry. I'm very sorry, Servo. I know your ego.
I was just getting over what happened, okay? I was just getting over it. And you had to start the show bringing up what happened on Monday
Dude,
night.
I went 5-1. I made money, dude. It was like we talked on Monday. We talked on Monday about it was I had actually lost money on Sunday. So I needed to turn it around on Monday. Oh, stop it.
Howard, I'm glad you made money on the Eagles losing.
Listen, I didn't want the Eagles to lose outright. Believe me, I don't want the Dallas Cowboys to get home field advantage in these playoffs, dude. That would be like my nightmare beyond belief. So,
Shout out to our producer Adam Bernard throwing the little lower third graphic here.
Servo.
Sour Servo. That is accurate. Yes.
Wah, wah.
Well, listen, I mean, at least I did hit on the Jalen Hurts rushing prop. He had part of his flu game, I guess, but still was looking a little shaky. So he was running at least. So I hit on that. But
the tush push turned into the fudge nudge. I gotta shout out my boy Mike, who emailed me a couple of days ago with the fudge nudge comment there. So I don't want to steal his joke if he's watching. Mike, I told you I was gonna use it, man. It's that good.
This thing has so many different names. The brotherly shove, the tush push. Now we got the fudge nudge. Okay.
Well, only when he's not feeling well. He's got the rumbly bumblies going on in his stomach.
I totally get it. All right, well, on today's show, by the way, we will be talking some early leans and odds for Week 16. Got games on Saturday, Sunday, and Monday for around Christmas time here. But also later on the show, I'll be giving out some of our college basketball bets for tonight. A huge slate of games here. We got a lot of really good non-conference games tonight, which is nice because in the college sports landscape, there's no bowl game tonight, so we can watch some college basketball at least tonight. And then our producer Adam Bernard will pop in for some a little NHL bet to wrap up the show. But I got Howard with me here, so we got to talk some NFL to start out. If you got any of your own comments, picks, betting leans you want to throw at us throughout the show, by the way, hit us up in the chat here on YouTube, and we'll get to your comments as they roll in here. Let's start out with a couple of the Saturday games. The Bills-Chargers we're going to start out with here because the Bills are 12-point favorites here on the road for in LA. 44 is the over-under. And I wanted to start with this one, Howard, because I got to ask you, we've done it a couple times this season and it's paid off. The team coming off the firing of their coach. We got the interim in place here. Brandon Staley's out. What's the vibes here? Are you getting the grabbing the Chargers plus the 12, or are you staying away because of how hot the Bills are looking now?
It's not even so much how hot the Bills are looking right now. It's just the fact that the Bills are in desperation mode at this point.
Yeah.
Like the Bills need this win in a big way. But yeah, talking about the spread is a totally different story. And, listen, the Chargers, the problem is that the Chargers are just so bad right now. Like Easton Stick, they're not going to have Keenan Allen. Austin Eckler fits into this offense like a square peg into a round hole. I told people that during the preseason. I was like, it ain't going to happen for you. He's got Joshua Palmer as the leading receiver at this point now. So it's very, very difficult to have any kind of confidence in the Chargers, especially with the fact that the Bills are in such need. My lean right now actually is the Bills minus the 12. I don't think the Chargers really care very much about what's to be, but I'll probably stay away from this. I mean, because it really, if you look at teams who fire their coaches, it's been a lot closer to a 50-50 split than it has been like that 60% that, we like a lot. Now, it worked for us, twice this year already now?
Yeah, Raiders and Panthers.
It worked. So it worked for us there.
Both covered the spread. Raiders were the only one that actually won outright.
I'd like this spread. Maybe if they maybe if this spread goes up a little bit more.
Yeah.
Give me like a 13.5 and I can buy it up to 14. Give me something like that. 12 just makes me nervous, Servo. It makes me nervous.
I gotta say, I thought you would go the other way. I thought you'd blindly just be like, all right, give me the Chargers in this fired coach spot.
I would have if Justin Herbert was under center, sure.
Fair. Yeah,
sure.
I would. We talked about this on Monday's show. I remember of just like the lack of a good game plan offensively for Easton Stick with Kellen Moore. I mean, I would love to see a better offensive game plan coming out with him. Using his legs. This guy is a legit dual threat guy, and he barely used his legs early on, and then they got down like 3 touchdowns on that Thursday night game.
Well, why the heck wouldn't you run the football right from the start when you're throwing Easton Stick into the fire? Run the football, maintain it. They had 15 pass plays to 7 run plays on their first 6 series. Like, why are you doing that? Why are you throwing that much with Easton Stick and you don't even have your regular weapons?
Yeah. And the game flow didn't really help with that, the game script, because they got down by 3 scores already, and it was like, all right, now we have to throw it. But, yeah, if they could come out with the stronger run game, maybe they keep this close. I'm going to go back and forth on this, and we'll see if I give this one out.
I'm back and forth on it too, man. I'm back and forth on it too. We're this will be a good conversation for Friday.
Because on the other side of it, I see the Bills, all coming off these 2 huge wins against KC and Dallas, and maybe it's a little letdown, and maybe they only win by just a touchdown or something, but we'll see. All right, another Saturday game here that's pretty interesting now with all the injury news going on. The Steelers and Bengals. The Bengals are 2-point favorites on the road here. 37 is the over/under. The Steelers are turning to Mason Rudolph to start this game now, with Pickett still out, and they're going to Rudolph now instead of Trubisky. But on the other side, Jamar Chase is out for the Bengals, which I think is notable. He got hurt last week. I think this is now like the 3rd straight week where I think I'm going to say this again, and it might bite me again, but I'm waiting for the slipper to fall off of Jake Browning here. I mean, he's been impressive. Last week he pulled out the win against the Vikings in overtime, but it was a game they probably should have lost. I mean, the Vikings were winning at that point and kind of blew it at the end in the 4th quarter, but this is now in this 3-game win streak for the Bengals with Browning under center. That they've survived twice in overtime. One was that impressive, road overtime win against the Jaguars, but again, that was also with Trevor Lawrence getting knocked out of that game. I don't know. And there's the whole other aspect of Mike Tomlin as a home underdog in a divisional game. Like, I'll have these stats probably ready to go, but his cover rate as a home underdog, especially in a divisional game, is remarkable. It's gonna be hard to get me off the Steelers here. What about you?
Mason Rudolph.
That might get me off the Steelers.
I mean, Najee Harris unlikely to play. Sounds like he's still banged up, dealing with a knee issue. So you got Jaylen Warren as your sole running back, which is great because that's what you want. You want to run against the Bengals. You do.
Yeah.
The problem is, I mean, Steelers defense at home definitely steps up better, but they don't have Dante Kazee. He's been suspended indefinitely. Minkah Fitzpatrick is unlikely to play as well. So, no, you don't have Jamar Chase to worry about. You still got T. Higgins and Tyler Boyd, Trenton Irwin. They do have weapons there. My lean so far here is probably the Bengals at the moment right now. I think you can't I mean, if this were a bigger point spread, I'd probably say okay, I do the Steelers, but -2 is almost. I mean, it's coin flippy. It's
Yeah.
coin flippy, and so when you're dealing with that, if it were a bigger point spread, I'd be like, yeah, I definitely can go with the underdog and do it that way, and the magic will wear off on Jake Browning. But I mean, you can't lose the games that the Steelers lost. I mean, this is just these last 3 weeks, right? The Cardinals, the Patriots, and the Colts. I mean, the Colts are the best team out of those three. Right. And they, they blew out the Steelers, but the Patriots and the Cardinals, like, how do you lose to those teams?
Yeah.
So I don't know, man. I think this could be the last stand for Tomlin. This could be it.
Well, you think he's getting fired after this year?
I think he could be. Yeah.
Wow. Interesting. I did not even, the quarterback situation has been kind of, a tough situation, tough to deal with for Tomlin, though. Like, you don't think that's kind of, he can kind of blame it on that? Did
they look good with Kenny Pickett under center? I mean, there's always
you could blame Matt Canada on that.
Well, here's that's the thing, like Coop and I talked about this. Matt Canada was the meat shield that Tomlin was standing behind the entire time, and now, it's like, you look at like Arthur Smith. Arthur Smith, like, now all of a sudden it's like, they lose to the Panthers, and Arthur Smith has to lose his job. He can't keep his job. And what does he do? He's like, well, Taylor Heineke's going to play, because clearly I was not going to be, I'm at a loss here because my quarterback is terrible. You give me these great weapons in Pitts and Drake London and Bijan Robinson, but the bottom line is that I have to adjust around this crappy quarterback situation, and that's why. So give me a new quarterback and give me a new chance. That's what Arthur Smith's doing. Tomlin just doesn't have anybody to hide behind anymore. This is it.
I think the difference, though, is that Smith is in charge of the offense for the Falcons, right? So it's not like this is Tomlin's offense that's being bad this year, and he's just kind of like, all right, next guy up. Well, who's the next quarterback we can throw out there?
He's the head coach. He needs to take some accountability here.
I'll be honest, I'd be very surprised if he got fired.
I would be very surprised also, but I've heard some rumblings, and
okay,
yeah, he's definitely somebody who I was surprised. Listen, you know what? Brian Daboll's on the hot seat too in New York. I mean, he but he dealt with Daniel Jones misplays in the beginning of the season. Then he lost Jones.
That's Tomlin's been there for over
Barkley
a decade.
coming back. I mean, there's just Listen, there are a couple of coaches on the hot seat that you really got to give some thought to. And is it time that the team just moves on?
Speaking of Arthur Smith and the Falcons here, that's our next game. Colts Falcons. They're going.
How are the Falcons favored in this game? How are the Falcons favored in any game this year? I don't understand this point spread at all.
I love that.
It makes no sense.
So you're taking the Colts here?
Of course I'm taking the Colts.
You don't think Vegas is telling us something?
Of course Vegas is telling us something. But how many times do I have to get fish hooked by Arthur Smith and the freaking Falcons before I probably won't even bet this game. I probably won't even bet it just because I hate the Falcons so much. And I hate because I love them so much and I hate Arthur Smith so much. And so I'm just completely torn. But I got Bijan in a bunch of fantasy football playoffs. So there's that.
Let's see 20 touches for Bijan here then.
Yeah, good. Yeah, right. What is my great granddaddy always used to say? You can crap in one hand and wish in the other. See which fills up first.
On the Colts side of things, by the way, there are a couple of injuries to note if you're looking to bet this game or for fantasy. But Zach Moss possibly out. Jonathan Taylor might be back, so monitor that situation. But Michael Pittman also in concussion protocol. We'll see if he plays. So a couple key offensive injuries to note and watch for the Colts side of things. But yeah, the Falcons obviously are going to Taylor Heineke. Desmond Ridder is benched in favor of Heineke now. So we'll see if that brings some life to the Falcons offense. Who knows? I'm with you, though. I am not going to bet this game. I'm staying away because honestly, the Colts and Falcons combined, I don't know what my record is, but I've lost a ton of bets with both of them this year. Back in the Colts, back in the Falcons, and it's just I can't get both these teams right. So this is a complete toss up, and it's a 1-point spread. It's basically gonna pick them here. So I'll probably stay away for sure. All right, let's go to a better game here. The Cowboys Dolphins. This is the marquee matchup of Sunday's slate here. Dolphins are 1.5-point favorites at home. 51 is the total here. Pretty high total for this game. Dolphins monitor the Tyreek Hill situation. There might be without Hill here, but this is a fascinating matchup for me because these are both teams, the Cowboys, Dolphins, that have just both been not been able to consistently beat the top competition that they faced this year. They've both kind of beaten up on their easier opponents, but when they face the top tier playoff caliber teams, they faltered. So this is kind of a prove it situation for both of them. Let's see who comes out. What's any leans on this game?
I'll probably lean on the over in this one. I think that, both defenses have flaws to them. And I'm sorry, but we saw Deron Bland get beat deep how many times? The Cowboys just don't have anybody who's got the speed to match Tyreek Hill. So if Hill is out there and playing, I feel very, very good about that. On the other side, I don't think Xavier Howard is playing for the Dolphins. So, give me all the CeeDee Lamb in the world that you can give me. I think that, this is where both defenses are flawed enough that both offenses should soar. But again, that to me, this lean right now is 100% based on what I want to see, not what I think I'll actually see.
Yeah.
Right. Because, everybody's going to bet the over on this one. Right. And you're probably better off picking the under just because of that. But doesn't this game give you like that 31-24 kind of vibe? It really does. So,
yeah, I was just thinking like 30-27 or something like that.
Yeah, something like that. Both teams are capable. Like that's really one thing that I've always said when you're talking about the primetime games and which ones pop in primetime and which one. I said, when you look at the Cowboys, the Dolphins, and the 49ers, those are three teams that can easily put up 30+ points on a team, no matter how good their defense is. These three offenses are that strong. So to have these two offenses going against each other, yeah, it's either it's going to be, the greatest game to watch this entire season, or it's going to be boring as hell, and you're going to be pissed off that you took the over. It's one or the other there, Servo.
I'm with you on leaning on the over here because, both defenses have their flaws, and they've both, overall this year, the overall numbers have been kind of propped up against some of the easier offenses that they face. But when they face these tougher teams and tougher lineups, they're not only losing the games, but that the defense has been the issue more often than not. So I do think, I gotta know if Tyreek Hill is playing though for the Dolphins to really. I think that definitely changes the look of this Dolphins offense. We've seen it already.
Definitely.
Just losing that firepower is very notable. Couple notes here, by the way, on the Cowboys, because we've talked about it, how they're just a different team away from Dallas. They're 7-0 straight up and against the spread at home, 3-4 against the spread and straight up on the road. And they're 0-3 against the spread as underdogs this year, losing on the road in each of those to the 49ers, Bills, and Eagles. So they're underdogs here, 1.5, small spread. But if they stay underdogs by the time this game kicks off, and we get the Tyreek Hill news that he is playing and fully back here for Miami, I'd probably lean the Dolphins too against the spread. But all right, how about let's wrap it up with Monday night's game, which is the best game of the week in my opinion here, even though it's 5.5 spread for the 49ers at home, but it's Ravens 49ers, both 11-3 teams. 46.5 is the over under. Any leans on this one?
Yeah, I'll excuse me, I'll lean getting the points, but it's a tough one here. Again, the 49ers absolutely explosive. We've seen teams beat up the Ravens defense at times. 2 weeks ago we watched the Rams sort of dissect them up and down the field with the passing game. So can Brock Purdy do that with Debo and Brandon Ayuk? Yeah, probably. A lot of this is going to fall on Lamar. He's probably going to get a ton of work with his legs in this one. And can that passing game really step up? You're bummed that Keaton Mitchell is out, but I don't think Keaton Mitchell was like a linchpin in this game. This is going to be like hard-nosed running with Gus Edwards up the middle, to try and neutralize the outside pass rush, or it's going to be, Brock Purdy trying to spread the ball around a little bit and get his weapons involved. So yeah, it's kind of where I'm leaning on that. I gotta just, I'll say this, because we always, I always crap on the schedule makers for doing things like, giving the Eagles, the Giants 2 out of 3 weeks at this part in the season. I don't like that. But what we've seen here now is with the AFC East and the NFC East playing each other, right? This late season, Cowboys, Eagles, Dolphins, Bills. Now you splash in the Ravens and the 49ers, and they've all been playing each other, here at the end of the season. So it's made it a lot more compelling, here at the end. I don't know how your Eagles got that cakewalk at the end. Here you go. Here's 2 of the worst teams. You're going to play one of them twice.
They get the Cardinals sandwiched in between the 2 Giants games.
Oh my God. What is that? That's ridiculous. But
to the schedule makers, I guess defense or whatever, they scheduled a really gauntlet of a schedule these past 6 weeks for the Eagles, playing the 49ers, Bills, Dolphins in there, Cowboys twice.
Again, there it
Seahawks
is.
On the road there.
It's the East against the East, man. The East against the East. Those are the 2 of the strongest. That's right. That's 4 of the strongest teams in the National Football League, all mixing up. Bills, Dolphins, Cowboys, Eagles.
Ooh, you're throwing Bills into one of the strongest teams this year.
I mean, you look at it, relatively speaking, they are.
I agree. I was just playing devil's advocate there. To this game though, I'm with you. I lean grabbing the Ravens with the points here, even though it's on the road. But I looked back through the 49ers, all their wins this year, because I knew they were blowing out teams left and right. But all 11 of their wins this year have been by at least 7 points. So they've covered this spread easily in all of them, and they're outscoring teams by 13 points per game at home this year. On the other side, the Ravens are impressive 6-1 on the road. So, something's got to give here. Going to be very interesting. I'm going to be going another game. I'm going to be going back and forth on before Friday's show. By the way, me and Howard Bender giving out our betting picks for all of the week 16 games and props too, and touchdown calls. So stay tuned on Friday at 4:00 Eastern here on Bettor Sports Network and Fantasy Alarm YouTubes. So that's about it for this week 16 early leans show here. Gonna say goodbye to Howard Bender. He's got a show to prepare for, but thanks for joining here on Wednesday, and I'll see you on Friday's show, Howard.
I'll definitely see you on Friday. Thanks as always for having me here, Servo. Always a pleasure. Looking forward to winning some more money, yo.
Yeah, let's get the week started right with Thursday Night Football tomorrow, and betting picks on Friday's show. All right, bringing in our producer here, Adam Bernard, because we got some college basketball and some NHL picks to give out to the people, right, Howard? Right, Adam? Sorry, I'm in that mode.
We sure do. I don't know if I really look like Howard, but
you replaced him on the screen, so I was just looking at that. You know what I mean?
But we got a nice. When I looked at the rundown today, there's some nice games in the college basketball world tonight. And I guess we'll start things off with ACC Big 12 clash between Baylor and Duke. And you got a pick that would make RG3 very happy.
Yeah, I think you would like this one. This is an awesome game. So this is at Madison Square Garden, neutral site for both these teams. Probably more Duke fans in the building, of course, because it's New York City. But I look at this, and Duke is still just not a proven team for me this year. They are not at same caliber as they've been in recent years. And this year they're 1-3 straight up against power conference teams so far. Baylor on the other side, I just view as a better team, and we get the neutral court setting here. I think they're going to prove that they are just a better team straight up. And, I get the 3.5 points here. I'll take it. I do think you could sprinkle some money line on the Baylor side of things, but their only loss, Baylor, this year was just on Saturday in a blowout outlier game, in my opinion, in Michigan. It was a neutral court technically, but it was in Michigan against Michigan State. But I expect a bounce back effort here from Baylor. They are the best 3-point shooting team in the country. 5 different players are shooting above 40% from 3. Duke, on the other hand, on their offense, they're getting inconsistent play outside of their stud Kyle Filipowski, but their other secondary guys. And by the way, one of their best players, Tyrese Proctor, has been out the last couple of games. We'll see if he does play, but he's going to be limited, I think, because it was an ankle injury. But I think the inconsistency outside of Filipowski is going to matter in this spot when you're facing another marquee team like Baylor here. So give me Baylor. And by the way, neutral court again in Madison Square Garden. Baylor played a couple games in the Barclays Center in New York City already this year, went 2-0 in those games and beat a good Florida team in one of those. So, this is nothing new for them going to New York to play the, a big matchup here.
It's got to be the Bagels. I mean, why else would they be playing so well in New York? I know that's the thing I miss the most about not living there anymore. Now, Madison Square Garden usually can sometimes be home to St. John's in the Big East. Not going to talk St. John's hoops tonight, but we got a couple of Big East games for you. First up, Creighton and Villanova. And looks like you are leaning towards the team from Nebraska here.
Yeah, I am. The St. John's is playing against Xavier tonight in Lou Carnesecca Arena there. They got bumped from Madison Square Garden there, but it should be also a good game to watch there in the Big East. But yeah, we got Big East play has started up here. We had a hit on Georgetown, barely covering the 10.5 spread last night. But which was good to get. But here, Villanova, Creighton, it's at home for Creighton, and I'm going with the Blue Jays to cover this spread. I'll be full transparency. I bet this last night when it was 6.5, and it's now gone up to 8.5. I'm seeing 9 at some books. I do think honestly though that this is going to be a convincing just double-digit win for Creighton. This is a bad matchup for Villanova and a good one for Creighton. Villanova is a bad 3-point defense. Their defensive strategy is to force opposing 3-point attempts and really, shut down the middle and inside, but really just force teams to shoot threes. That's what Creighton loves to do. They shoot threes at one of the highest clips in the country. They're making about 40% from deep too. And on the other side, it's a bad matchup on the other side for Villanova because Creighton is a top tier 3-point defense in the country, plays tight on the perimeter, forces teams inside. But Villanova is a team that also likes to shoot a ton of threes and gets a lot of their offense from the perimeter and the 3-point shot. Do not have a strong, inside scoring presence right now. So I think this is a big mismatch, and I'm not surprised by the spread kind of increasing here. Maybe I'll eat my words, but I think this should be an easy Creighton win. Also, looking back at the recent history between these two teams, obviously you said, Creighton in Nebraska, Villanova, PA team going on the road to Creighton. It has not worked for Villanova recently. They're 0-4 straight up in their past 4 road games at Creighton, losing by an average of 13 points per game. 3 of those 4 losses have been by double digits. I think it's a tough spot for Villanova here, who, by the way, on the road this year, Villanova is 0-2 against the spread. So, yeah, give me Creighton to win here.
Sounds like it could be a bad day for Villanova at the hand of the Blue Jays, so we'll see what happens there. Now, another Big East matchup we got is UConn versus Seton Hall. Shout out WSOU Pirate Radio 89.5 SM. Listen to you all the time in high school and college when I lived in New York. UConn here looks like they're heading down to Jersey. It looks like you're going to stick with the total here.
Yeah, I was really tempted to take Seton Hall to cover this. It's at home for Seton Hall welcoming in UConn here. Start of Big East play for both these teams. But that just I do think Seton Hall is going to be very buttoned up defensively in this spot here at home, and I'm taking the under 140.5 is the total. UConn, obviously, their offense is very dangerous, but I just think Seton Hall is going to be ready to really limit the 3-point shooting, but also just frustrate their big man Donovan Clingan inside. And I worry that this is UConn's only second true road game of the year. And I see Seton Hall, at home. I think they're just going to be Shaheen Holloway is going to have his defense, I think, ready to go for this, well prepared. And I look at last year, Seton Hall versus UConn, both games went under the total. And now UConn Seton Hall games have gone 4 straight to the under, and 5 of the past 6 have gone under. So these two teams are used to playing just grinder of a Big East game where scoring, I could see some little longer stretches of scoreless streaks here from both teams because Seton Hall's not great offensively, honestly, too. So, but I think UConn's defense, which is very good, will travel here on the other side. So, yeah, give me the low scoring here between the two Big East schools.
All right, that game at the Prudential Center tonight, one of my favorite buildings in the country. Now we head out west. Arizona is going to be hosting. Well, they play in Tucson tonight. They'll be playing in Phoenix, about 2 hours up the road. They're hosting Alabama. Tops in the Pac-12 right now. You got Arizona covering this pretty easily.
Yes, this is another neutral court in quotes, but it's in Arizona. This is basically like a home game for Arizona. They're going to pack the stadium for sure. But I look at this team, the spread might seem large because of Alabama's, advanced metrics, or they're like a top 10 team in some spots. But I think Arizona is just a clear tier above. And I think being at home basically for them is going to matter a lot here. Alabama this year, kind of similar to Duke, but even more so, they have not proven themselves against tough competition. And they've lost all 4 of their toughest games so far: Purdue, Creighton, Clemson, Ohio State, and have lost them by an average deficit of 7 points per game. Bama's a very good offensive team. They like to play fast, but their defense is very much a worry. It's cost them in those games against Purdue, Creighton, some of these top teams where their defense can really let them down, let other teams pretty much have whatever they want on the offensive end. Just saw it pretty much with Purdue and Creighton, and I think Arizona's in that upper tier with Purdue and Creighton. I just think it's a tough spot for Alabama to come in here and try to shut down a very good Arizona team that's a top 10 offense and defensive efficiency on both sides of the ball. They also play fast, so they're going to play quick right with Alabama and aren't going to back down from that kind of up-tempo environment. The total here, 175.5, is massive.
I was going to say, even I know that's a high total, even for a fast-paced college game. That isn't. I did a double take when I saw that.
It's an insane total. You're basically saying, all right, one team's going to score 90+, the other team's going to score 80-something. It's like, this is a high total. I looked at the unders because the total was so high. I think that might be like the sharper move, but I'm taking Arizona here. Their only loss was just a tight one on the road at Purdue this past weekend. But I think they now get to it's a nice bounce back for them to get back with another marquee non-conference win for them to get back in the win column. And this is a team that was number 1 in the AP poll just last week before they lost to Purdue. So this is a legit national title contender, and Alabama is just a tier below because of their defense being so bad.
Yeah, Arizona gets a chance to play in Phoenix and a little bit of in front of a bigger audience maybe than they're used to in Tucson. Then revel in that and take it out on the Crimson Tide tonight. So there you go.
Yeah, some Alabama, Arizona. That's a late night tip too, 11 Eastern. Should be, if you're a college hoops fan or if just a casual, this is a great game to stay up and watch. But yeah, I think ESPN honestly has Baylor, Duke, and then there's the Oklahoma, North Carolina game, which is really good. But then right into this in Alabama, Arizona. So, all right, let's talk some NHL here to wrap up the show. You got a pick here. It's a smaller slate of games. We had a bigger one last night that you gave out some bets for, but you do have at least one pick here for tonight's NHL slate.
Yeah, let's hope I give out a winner tonight. The coach's firing one looked real good early. They jumped out to a 3-0 lead, Ottawa. I'm like, here we go. This is the coach effect. And
I noticed that.
And then, I didn't look for a while, and then I checked at the end of the night, and I'm like, 4-3 Arizona. Come on, man. But yeah, nonetheless, only a 3-game slate tonight. TNT doubleheader. First up, you're going to have the Capitals and the Islanders. Red Wings Jets is the other game that's early, but not on TNT. But the nightcap is going to be Kings and the Kraken. And I got the Kings to win in regulation here. These two teams just met on Saturday, and the Kings needed a shootout to get the win. The Kraken aren't a good team. They sit as fifth worst in the West. Say that 5 times fast. But they're feisty, and they play teams tough to keep scoring down. They're on a 2-game losing streak, and they've lost 10 of 12. So, I mean, there's really no reason to think that they can win against a team like the Kings, but because they're a tough team, they can keep scoring down and keep it close. LA's on a 2-game winning streak. It looks like they got their swagger back against the Sharks the other night. They started off strong, and the Kings kind of regressed a tiny bit, but they, like I said, seem to have their swagger back. Because they keep it close, I'm scared away from the puck line, and it's too juiced on the money line at -165. So give me an old-fashioned regulation win, -105 on BetMGM for the Kings. They're also starting Talbot, who has been sensational this season, posting a 1.85 goals against average and a 13-5-2 record for Cam Talbot. So I think LA can get it done. They see them for a second time in a week. They had to, keep it. They had to play them close all the way. I think tonight maybe they figured out what kept it close on Saturday, and they take care of business.
This is the late game on TNT too, right?
Yeah, this is the nightcap after Caps Islanders. I mean, you could look at the under. It's 6 -110 on BetMGM. If you wanted the hook as cushion, you could go to PointsBet and get it there at -130. But that with the teams that tend to not score, you could go under. But again, who knows? I mean, it's probably under, but I'm not touching that.
Yeah. Well, yeah, just take the Kings in regulation, and you can watch that and have a dual screen going with Arizona, Alabama too.
Absolutely, because if that game starts at 10:30, they're going to intermission by about 11:15, so you could catch the rest of the first half of Alabama, Arizona, and then when that goes to halftime, you switch back to the hockey game, and then you just flip until you fall asleep in the recliner like we all do.
And you know what I'm doing right now? Let me just put this together because we got both these games going on late. The money line for Arizona, I gave out the spread, but the money line's -350. If you parlay that with the Kings money line, overall, because you have the regulation price, but I think the overall
like 160, 170, -160 or -170 for the money line for the Kings last time I looked.
Yeah, let me combine these two and see what we get. +106 on BetMGM if you want a little late night parlay for tonight.
Something to keep you awake.
There you go.
There you go.
And hopefully me and Adam both got some wins there.
Yes, nice.
Thanks for jumping in here, Adam. Giving us some NHL and helping me with college basketball. We'll be back tomorrow, Thursday night football. It's not a great game as always on Thursday night, but we got some picks. Me and James Grande will give out some player props, our best bets for the game. Also, I'll give out some college football bowl bets for the upcoming weekend. Another huge slate on Saturday. You have had some games going on these weekdays here, but Saturday is another whole slate of games to dive into. So I'll give out some bets for that. And then James Grande will have his NBA picks for Thursday night as well. So it should be a fun show again. Thanks for everyone for tuning in here. Coming up after us, 5 p.m. Eastern, as always, the NBA DFS live show with John and Pemba and James Grande talking some NBA daily fantasy for tonight's slate. And then the Bettorcast tonight, 7 p.m. Eastern. We got trivia with Moose and Keith. So jump in on the Bettorcast app if you haven't already and join in on that fun. All right, that's about it for us. Thanks for everyone for tuning in here. Good luck with all of your bets tonight and this week and this weekend. And we'll see you guys later.
Bettor Sports Betting on the Bettor Sports Network.